Mira and HarlequinAudio present Once Upon a Holidate, featuring Happily This Christmas and A Very Merry Princess by Susan Mallery, performed by Tanya Eby. Happily This Christmas.
Chapter 1. Annoying other people was one thing. Wynn Beauchene could completely get behind that idea, mostly because more often than not, people deserved to be annoyed. But annoying herself? What was up with that? Not only was it a total waste of time, it made no sense. The only solution was to stop acting like a 16-year-old girl with a crush on the quarterback. She was a mature adult, a single mother with a successful business, and a life she really liked. If she was attracted to her handsome neighbor, then she needed to stop hanging out by the front window of her house, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. She should march over to his place, knock on his front door, and say, "I'm an idiot," she muttered out loud, not for the first time. No matter how she envisioned the march over there scenario, she couldn't figure out what she was supposed to say when he opened the door. "Hi, Garrick. I was wondering if maybe we could, go out sometime." Really? That was how she was going to start the conversation? Shouldn't she lead into it? Maybe mention she'd enjoyed having him as her neighbor for the past year, and tell him how nice it was that he was a police officer, and the whole street liked the fact that he parked his patrol car in the driveway. Not that crime was a problem in Happily Inc., because it wasn't. But still, having a cop as a neighbor was great. Although her interest was more personal, what with how he'd looked over the summer, mowing his lawn, shirtless. Not that she hadn't noticed him before. She had. Until the lawn mowing season, she'd managed to ignore him. But now she couldn't, and it was already November, and she'd done absolutely nothing to take their non-relationship past the waving and highing stage. And here she was, hanging out by her front window, and she was ready to slap herself upside the head. It was the dating thing. She wasn't good at it because she didn't do it very often. There were a lot of reasons, very few of them interesting. But in the past 5 or 6 months, she'd been thinking that maybe it was time to let the no-dating rule go and have a personal life. But while she'd spent a lot of time thinking, she hadn't done much on the doing front. "I'm better than this," she muttered, ignoring the little voice in her head whispering that she obviously wasn't. It was just that in every other area of her life, she was capable. Hunter, her 14-year-old, acting out in school, she could deal with that 5 ways to Sunday. A printing order gone awry at work, easy peasy. A friend with an emotional crisis, she was all about the hugging and straight talk. But when it came to dating, or wanting to date, or thinking Garrick was sexy and super sweet with her son, and lately she'd been wanting them to get to know each other better, she was a mess. Worse than a mess. She was pathetic. As proof, she was standing in her living room, looking out the picture window, staring at his house, waiting for him to get home. It was Saturday afternoon. She had a lot of things she should be doing, and none of them included staring at some guy's empty driveway. If only there weren't something about him. But there was. Not just the whole tall with broad shoulders thing, although that was very nice, as were his gray eyes and dark hair, but that wasn't really what got her attention. It was more the fact that while Garrick was always friendly and pleasant, there was a hint of something a little dark and dangerous lurking beneath the surface. Ridiculous but true. And like most reasonably intelligent women who knew better, she couldn't help responding to the possibility of a great guy who just might have a whisper of a dangerous streak. She turned away from the window just in time to hear a dinging sound. After walking into the kitchen, she pulled 2 cookie sheets out of the oven. Because she'd made chocolate chip cookies, if you could believe it. Things were that bad. Oh, not the baking. She baked all the time for Hunter, and most likely she would pretend she'd made these for her son, as well. Only she hadn't. She'd baked them thinking she would take them over to Garrick in a neighborly kind of gesture that, hopefully, would lead to some witty conversation, lots of laughter, and him confessing that he'd spent the past few months wanting to ask her out. It was a lot of pressure to put on chocolate chip cookies. She slid in 2 more
Sample complete. Ready to continue?